The idea that Lindsey Graham is a conservative, with the caveat that, like, who even knows what a conservative is now? Conservative is Mark Levin a conservative? Dave Rubin, whoever that is he conservative? Okay, I guess. I mean, whatever.
Welcome back, my beloveds, to the Nissim Black Show. So excited to be with you here today. Right now, everybody's talking about it, so I'm just gonna let you know what it is. There is a civil war right now going on the right. And the conservative movement right now is experiencing it. I thought this was just a TPUSA, Charlie's gone. There are those who are fighting to try to figure out what the face of that movement is going to be. But I think Ben Shapiro, shout out to him, made it very clear that this is not just about that. There are people trying to, fragment the party and trying to basically take over and give it a new identity. Of course, at the center of all this is always going to be Israel one way or another. But there's other things also, too. There's values. There's what is a traditional conservative? What are conservative values? And then starting to fight for those. And then as we have Gen Zers, much more people, because of Charlie's work, that all of these people now are coming in, is that, what is going to be the future of the conservative movement? And it is very telling, but it's also very scary to some degree. I mean, the biggest, the most polarizing figure that there's been, I don't know, in politics, I think Trump he's way bigger than what Obama was. Obama was monumental because of his skin color and all this other stuff, but he was nothing compared to as polarizing as Trump. Trump is just a big person. He was, attempted assassination, and he gets up and he's screaming, fight, fight. I mean, so after all of that, what does the conservative movement have? And if you're fragmented and you can't even agree on which candidate should be the front runner, and you have so many different people, like, it seems as if 2028 is going to be a very, very long night. And I would say to some degree, leading all of this and being one of those people who are causing some of this disruption is Tucker Carlson. Finds himself at the center of many things all the time. Tucker Carlson is a person that you absolutely cannot trust. He flip-flops. He changes his opinions like the wind. Nothing about him actually, for me, seems sincere. Instead of just giving you an opinion, he's stated in the question, and then when it's time for opinions, then he hides behind the fact that he never said that. Right? So this is the Tucker Carlson. Let's go ahead and start with the first clip of Tucker.
The idea that Lindsey Graham is a conservative, with the caveat that, like, who even knows what a conservative is now? Conservative is Mark Levin a conservative? Dave Rubin, whoever that is he conservative?
I mean, how do you get to determine, like, this is what I'm saying. First, let's blur the lines of what a conservative is, right? Let's blur the lines of what a conservative is. What is that? What does that even mean? What does it mean? I mean, classic Tucker. It's ridiculous already. He's too old for this.
Okay, I guess. I mean, whatever. But if those are the people, Ted Cruz, conservative? I don't, let's take a close look at Ted Cruz's life. What's conservative about it? Let's take a close look at Lindsey Graham's life. Is that conservative? And what's the reference point for that?
I don't know a lot about Tucker Carlson's personal life, but he has done enough publicly. Just in the amount of things of him changing his opinion, the propaganda, the lies that come forth from him, that he's lying in front of everybody. I can only imagine what's going on in his personal life if he's willing to do all of this before the public over and over and over again.
What do you even mean? People like that have a completely different set of values on the deepest level, not on a surface level. We're not arguing here about tax rates, and whether we should allow reimportation of prescription drugs. I mean, this is not a policy debate. This is a debate that flows from deepest level convictions, from foundational beliefs, and that is evident in the way that people live. If I took a microscope to your life, what would I find? And in the case of almost every single warmonger, you find chaos and sadness and alienation and weird behavior and abusiveness and alcoholism. It's like they're a disaster. And so they're projecting outward the hate that they feel on, in some cases, entire populations, and increasingly on the American population.
Well, he's not a person I would definitely agree with, because with Tucker Carlson himself, I don't even know if he agrees with himself. Now, here's one thing. He's been in front of the American public for a very long time. CNN, then going over to Fox, and then now having his own network and all the things that he's done. So, I mean, in that amount of time, okay, it's okay for you to, have some change of opinions. You've been at this for a while or whatever. But the thing with Tucker, sometimes this thing just seems to happen within a few months, right? Just abruptly, he could just, all of a sudden change opinion, and he'll speak as if he didn't just change his opinion from like a month ago. Tucker Carlson, ladies and gentlemen.
U.S. aid, military aid to Israel, and the implied security guarantees, some explicit, but many implied security guarantees of the United States to Israel probably haven't helped Israel that much long term. It's a rich country with a highly capable population. Like every other country, it's probably best if it makes its decisions based on what it can do by itself. Israel cannot exist without being propped up by the United States. Its nuclear program came from the United States. Its weapons come from the United States. Its economy is supported by the United States. That country couldn't exist without, not for a week, without U.S. backing.
And this is what I'm saying. People have short-term memory, but you cannot. You can't be a type of person who flip-flops this much, who will say something, put something out there, insinuate things, and then in a second turn back around and say, "Why? I never said that. Why would you think I was implying that? Why would you think I was implying that?" And it's like, man, like I said, Tucker, he's too old for this type of stuff. Recently, Tucker was on Megyn Kelly live, and, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see, and this is what hurts me so bad. You see guys like this on a massive platform, and, and it just, honestly, it is what it is. But it was a night and day when Ben Shapiro sat down with Megyn Kelly, and Tucker Carlson. It was night and day. Not just only because the crowd was giving the validation. If you were to mute the crowd and you didn't hear them, it was night and day. And this is what I'm saying. When you have guys like this, and you have, Tucker, pretending and hiding behind questions and not really giving strong opinions and dancing around things. Listen, if I didn't have the video to show you, you wouldn't believe it. You just wouldn't believe it. You have to look at Tucker with Megyn Kelly.
Letter grade would you give Donald Trump so far?
Well, as always, I just give him like huge style points.
That's just not what she asked you. She didn't ask you that, Tucker. She asked you, what grade would you give Donald Trump? And just look how long it takes for him to actually say anything of substance that's even in the neighborhood of the question that she asked him.
He's just hilarious. He's just unbelievable. And he never gets credit for it, People always say Trump is always seeking credit for everything, but in my view, as a middle-aged man, every middle-aged man wants to be thought of as funny. And the core unmet desire in the heart of every long-married man is to have his wife laugh at his jokes. And of course, it doesn't happen. It can't happen. It's some rule of nature. It's like Sisyphus. The rock never gets to the top for some reason, but you keep pushing it.
We're about 30-something seconds in, and he still hasn't answered the question. Just throwing that out there.
And I feel like Trump is a victim of that very, very sad, very rarely recognized syndrome, the unrecognized comedian syndrome. I think he's freaking hilarious. I just do.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We're about a minute in, and he's just now thinking about a way to answer the question. And this is what I'm saying. This is character. This is like, there was a simple, if the affection that he has for Donald Trump is real, and the support, as we have seen, Tucker flip-flop on this like he has other things, right? If it was so real, then why wouldn't you just be able to give an answer? Like, why wouldn't you just be able to say something? He's acting the same way these jihadists are asked, when they asked about Palestine, did they support Hamas? Did they support BDS or whatever? 50 seconds to get to the actual answer. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And in the end, you don't even give the answer. You still even dance around the answers. You're just hanging out in the neighborhood of what the answer would be. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Listen, for all of you who follow him, I feel bad.
I think sealing the borders is a wonderful achievement.
Yep. Yes.
I think You know, you could argue both ways on sending troops to cities and how it was done and will it work or whatever, but just saying out loud that crime and disorder are the most basic enemies of civilization is so important. It's like, you can say you're civilized, but if your wife is getting mugged, if your kids are afraid to go to school, you're not civilized. You're living like animals. Even animals don't live like that. So just to have him say that is hugely reassuring to me and hugely important. Telling the truth is often more important than really doing anything.
And unfortunately, Tucker happens to be the person that doesn't do either. He doesn't tell the truth, nor does he do anything. And when he does take action, he takes action against the very truth that he says he's defending. It is quite perplexing sometimes, the things that come out of people's mouth.
And then I would say tariffs, kind of open question. I'm certainly rooting for them. But the foreign policy stuff, it's like every president struggles with this. You just get swarmed, and it seems so important and imminent. We have to do this. And like, actually, I have found in life, a lot of the time it's like, don't just do something, sit there. Like, actually don't take action is often the wisest response to what appears to be a crisis. Just calm down.
What'd you think about threatening boots on the ground in Nigeria?
I mean, it's like deranged, you know? No. Have you been to Nigeria? I have.
No.
Yeah, no.
I mean, they're slaughtering Christians.
Yeah, they are. Christians are being killed in a lot of different places, and I hate it.
I'm just making sure that we're stopping at appropriate places for you to be able to digest the things that he's saying, whether they're sensitive or insensitive, or whatever the case is. I want you to be able to make that judgment for yourself. It is so ridiculous to continue to see that people are acting as if there's nothing going on with Tucker. Why do they have a problem with Tucker? Why do they have a problem with Tucker? Are you not watching the footage? Are you not watching what the man is actually saying? You know, with Nigeria, of course they have problems. Now, up to date, I mean, I'm just up to this moment right now. She asked about a question, what would you grade Donald Trump? As far as what we have seen, there's only one thing that Trump has done right, according to Tucker, and that's the sealed borders. Apart from that, everything else is wrong and or maybe nuanced, right? Maybe sending in people. You could argue each way, right? But he didn't give an opinion about what he actually felt about the National Guard going into Chicago or D.C. or Minneapolis, whatever the case is. He's not actually giving an opinion, right? And this is what makes it so hard to deal with a person like this, because he'll make moves like have Nick Fuentes on, or the mustache lady, or this one or that one, and all these other people, and then he'll engage with them in conversation, allow them to spew rhetoric on his platform, right? And then hide behind, well, I never said those things. I was never the person that said that. I didn't do this. It's just, it's childish. It's very, very childish.
But boots on the ground may not be the right way to do it. I just, I'm 56, so I was, 32 or something when 9/11 happened, and I spent the next 10 years like traveling to all the places and seeing all the stuff, and I can just tell you what you already know, which is our response just was totally counterproductive, in a very deep sense counterproductive, and really bad for America. I'm sad about that. I supported it. I'm not blaming anyone, but that's just true. So we haven't figured out how to make things better by inserting troops. You can certainly overthrow people. You can, you can force Hitler to kill himself. You can make the, emperor resign or whatever. You can do those things. You can do the kind of obvious things, but the fine motor skills are really tough. Like, how do you change attitudes, end tribalism? I mean, I think in the specific case of Nigeria, I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in Nigeria yesterday, who said, it's anti-Christian. Of course, Christians get martyred all the time, including in Azerbaijan. But in this case, it's primarily tribal. Different tribes have, but whatever. It's complex.
Everything seems to be complex. When it comes to all these other things, what wasn't complex for Tucker was what was going on in Gaza. Nothing about that was complex. Evil was evil. Israel was committing the genocide. It's so. This is what I'm talking about. Well, how's it systematic? Notice at the points when Tucker is clear. Notice when he's clear, because he spends the most of his time and most of his career in this area of not being clear, right? Not being clear. I want you to see this next clip when he's actually asked by Megyn Kelly. Shout out to her. Thank you at least for this. I'm not always happy. I'm not really happy with Megyn Kelly in the way that she's handling, this feud that's happening on the right. I think that she needs to make a stance, and that's for a lot of us. You are going to have to choose, what your rights or wrongs are. Right, or what those things are you are willing to accept, and what things you are willing to part from, as far as how you see things, and where you line up by the time when you go to that voting poll. Like, you just are going to have to know when you support a candidate that the things that are most important for you are taken care of. And right now they are working to split this. But I want you to see this last clip that I have of Tucker. While he's being asked, actually, by Megyn about having Nick Fuentes on.
The main criticism, as I understand it, has been, well, yes, platforming. They say that. I don't accept platforming as a valid objection.
When is that a verb, by the way? You take a noun and you make it into a verb and nobody says anything? As a former editor, I say no.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
Honestly, but
does that bother you guys the way that it bothers me? It bothers me that the man can't just, he has to make just a light of something, because he doesn't want to answer the question, or when he's asked the question, he needs to, belittle it first. What is a verb? What does that even mean? What is it? It means what it means. Everybody knows what it means to platform somebody. They know what it means. Even if it didn't mean something back when you were, in college or in journalism, today it means something. You know exactly what it meant. So why not just answer the question, allow her to get it out without making light and trying to make the person or the people who are actually asking the question seem little and small by you jesting over what it is that they're asking you?
as far as I know, Nick Fuentes hasn't eaten anyone. Jeffrey Dahmer ate people, and he was platformed by Diane Sawyer.
Dude, we have a sitting member of Congress. I spoke to the Speaker of the House about this today. We have a sitting member of Congress from Florida called Randy Fine, who was literally texted or put on Twitter, we should kill them all. Every single one. Someone texted a picture of a dead baby, and he laughs at it. And it's like, this guy's a lawmaker who's appropriating money to a military committing genocide, and that's cool? It's not cool.
No.
And let's just be honest. That is much worse than anything Nick Fuentes has said.
It actually isn't. It actually isn't. And I'm not going to repeat, I dare to repeat any of the repulsive things that Nick Fuentes has actually said. But it's for sure not true that the words of Andy Fine were as bad as Nick Fuentes, especially when you're hearing them from Tucker Carlson with absolutely no context, because that's what he does.
Period.
So the main pushback has been, when you had Jeffrey Dahmer or the Ku Klux Klan, or et cetera, these journalists went after them, exposed the terrible things. And Nick Fuentes has said a long list of very vile things.
Big time, including attacking my dad, which was the most vile of all, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which even on that, you didn't have nothing to say. You didn't have what to say, Tucker. You just let this man come onto your platform. Let him come on to your platform, Tucker. And to get away with disgustingness. But you guys keep watching. I want you to see how he handles this. Please, I'm going to let it play to the end.
I personally have watched videos of him questioning the Holocaust, likening it to baking cookies in the oven, and there's no way you could have gotten to 6 million, seems to be his theory. He seems to think that we've way overstated the number of Jews killed in the Holocaust. He's ripped on poor Usha Vance in the most offensive terms, which so what do you say to those people who say, why didn't you raise any of that?
Do your own interview the way that you want to do it. You're not my editor. Buzz off. I don't know. You want to go yell at Nick Fuentes? I'll give you his cell. Call him and go sit and yell at him and feel virtuous or whatever. That's up to you. I got the same thing with Putin. Why aren't you yelling at him? Okay, why? So I can show that I'm a good person? I care about what my wife thinks, my children think, and God thinks, and that's it. I don't need to prove that I'm a good person to you. You may think I'm a terrible person. Okay, I'm just doing my thing, which is I want to understand what people think. And I'm committed to that. And if you don't like it, don't watch. That's my view. Yep. But that doesn't mean that I share the views. I'm not telling Nazi jokes, obviously, or Holocaust jokes. Please.
No, Tucker, you're not telling those jokes. But the truth is, what you are doing is you're bringing people on that are telling those jokes. You are bringing people on that are pushing and spreading propaganda. And when you bring them on and you do not say anything to either discuss things they had said previously or the things that they're saying in front of your face, then you cannot be upset that people are accusing you of having these views. Because for some reason, these are the people that end up on your platform constantly, that you're agreeing with and talking with them and highlighting and insinuating things and highlighting certain facts that they're making and putting emphasis on those things. Tucker Carlson is fake. He's not real. Not a real person. Listen, I hope with all of my heart that something turns around for him. But right now, he is a danger to the conservative movement, to the conservative party. Tucker Carlson is a danger. He's a danger to Israel, even to Israel. The way that he will, have your opinion, at least debate. There are other people out there who I abhor their opinion. I abhor the way they think, but they're willing to come to the table, Dave Smith got smashed on by a few people already around. Douglas Murray gave him the business. Officer Tatum gave him the business. I mean, it has happened. But at least I have respect that he's willing to talk out his opinions, as opposed to a guy like Tucker, who hides everything behind a question. I'm sorry, I keep going on about this guy. Anyway, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so anytime anything else drops, you are going to know about it first. I must go now, but as always, remember to serve God or live trying. I'm out. I don't have to tell you that in our fast-paced lives, we rarely stop to just breathe, to reconnect ourselves with Hashem and with our purpose. And that's why I'm really excited to tell you about Kavana, an incredible new app that helps bring mindfulness and Jewish spirituality into everyday life. It's filled with guided meditations, music, sleep stories, quick 1-minute pauses, and daily inspiration, all designed to help you live with more Kavana, with more intention, more presence, and more meaning. And right here on the Kavana app, I'll be releasing a brand new guided Heat Bodedut series, a powerful journey into personal prayer and connection with the Creator. So go download the Kavana app today, sign up, and join me for the course.